I don't know what we doing.
Welcome everyone to the Sharpshooters Wrestling Podcast. I'm Eric,
I'm Lord Manny. Hey, Ace!
and I'm shocked and appalled because I had the very heartfelt tribute to El Luchador at the very beginning of the show because he died at the docks. And Marcus apparently hasn't said he was the grand finale. I don't know what happened with that.
You put him off.
I'm sorry.
Man, he said I'm not Manny's Hayes. He was like, hey, and on side note, and I was like, what the fuck?
Marcus, you have to understand why I cut you off, but please introduce yourself.
No, I don't understand that you cut my intro off.
Marcus, you guys told me a man was dead, Marcus. We gave a tribute opening to a man at the beginning of our show. And then I look into the chat room, and the man is right here. El Luchador is in the chat room. Pop, pop. He ain't dead yet, fam. So I'm so confused. I have never had a resurrection on the show. This is my first resurrection, and I don't know how to feel.
How rude of you to talk over a 10-bell salute.
But he ain't dead. He ain't dead.
Well, we had it prepared.
And you know what, Manny? I don't think El Luchador will take a 10-bell salute. I think he want bagpipes.
Why would he get the bagpipe? He's not Scottish.
Marcus, you don't want the bagpipes?
No.
You want the African pallbearers, don't you?
I want them dancing. I want those dudes dancing. Like, oh man, they had rhythm. I'm Marcus the grand finale, by the way, for those who didn't hear my introduction, which you're going to get at least 8 times on this show because you cut me off. Never in the 15, 16, 17 years of this show have I not had an intro, and you cut it off. I am Marcus the grand finale, goddamn.
Well, he cut me off. He cut the ending of my intro off as well.
Yeah.
I had a resurrection, and people, we not only did you guys tell me the man was dead, but his arch rival, Wes from B-More, is also in the chat room. It's gonna be it's gonna be a nightmare today in the chat. So
Lumberjack is on fire.
no holds
By the
barred.
way, I'm Marcus the grand finale.
I'm
Yes.
Lord Manny. Hey!
Ho! I'm Marcus. There are 2 characters for the Marcus and Manny show.
I thought it was
From the island of relevancy.
I thought it was the untitled Marcus and Manny show.
It's still untitled. Yes. You're right.
Also, shout out to Chris, who's also in the chat room. I don't want to forget him either. Gentlemen, as we come here to record this episode, WWE decided to release some news that really, I guess, shook the foundation of the wrestling world. I believe it was 3 weeks ago. WWE was on a major push of this performer, Zelina Vega, Miss Trinidad, Aleister's black wife, all those things. She was on a push. They saw things in her. But then WWE
no, they saw things on her.
Then WWE decided to come to terms on a release. There are there's many conflicting reports that this release is because she may have wanted to unionize, or possibly she just didn't want to give up her Twitch channel. Marcus, I turn to you since you have a Twitch background. What is your impression and what is your opinion on the Zelina Vega situation?
Well, it's 100% over Twitch and forming a union, and I believe the discussions was made earlier in the day, and it didn't happen instantly like that. I don't know how it's time, but it's 100% bullshit. And I gotta go on record that Vince McMahon or the WWE and the powers that be of their company decides to try to give people Twitch money, forcing Paige to do the only thing she's able to do that's positive in her life on Twitch, and take that away from her. And Zelina Vega was like, you can't take this away from me either. This is outrageous. And she stood up for herself, and I'm proud of her, and they need to unionize. They need to come back. The wrestlers are going to destroy the wrestling industry probably in a good way. And unionize. And, no longer be treated like basically servants or be slaves to their contract. I am proud of Zelina for standing up. I mean, I think it's a disgrace that it's come to this. And AEW, if they sign her, will be the best women's wrestler on their roster.
Manny, do you share the same sentiments that Marcus gave?
Yes, I do, Sex Luthor.
What?
Marcus, you have a laptop now. You can pull up the chat and look at the chat, man.
So we've got Wes calling Lucha saying "Sup Lex Luthor, I mean sup Lucha," and then El Luchador replies, the returning El Luchador, "If I'm Lex Luthor, Eric is Sex Luthor."
I mean,
Didn't
anyway,
we give Eric another name this week? I forgot what it was.
we're not here to see how you guys want to name me. We're here to see what Manny's opinion of the WWE versus Zelina Vega, the case that will be heard across the world.
Well, as Marcus already said, it wasn't because she sent out a tweet 10 minutes before the announcement of a release of saying, something about unionization. It was the meeting happened. She caught wind of what was going to happen hours before the actual releasing, so it wasn't because of that. I think there was going back and forth about like what direction she was going in and stuff like that, and then it was kind of just a tipping point about her outside of wrestling kind of endeavors, so Twitch, OnlyFans, and all that other stuff. But you got to look at it two ways. Where the company have kind of built you on that platform, and then like they've got sponsors and everything as well. So like if you're out there doing things that go against what their corporate sponsors are saying, that's going to cost them money eventually, and then that's all Vince cares about.
You know, I get that perspective, and I understand what you're saying, but I think at the same time, I think if they would separate themselves, like, I don't think WWE should get a portion of their proceedings from their twitching, their streaming, or even like Jay White's OnlyFans, which I didn't know he had an OnlyFans.
Jay White has an OnlyFans?
He has an OnlyFans, man. I don't know what Switchblade. I don't know what Switchblade's OnlyFans is.
Is it just him opening knives?
Marcus, I don't know. But
that's the most hillest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Marcus, on his Instagram page, he said that my OnlyFans is over 200,000. So apparently there's 200,000 people that is on Jay White's OnlyFans. Maybe not all OnlyFans are used for sex. I'm not sure. But I think there
How would you know?
Oh. I'm sure Eric has an OnlyFans.
With that being said, I think that there is a clear separation between a WWE's, like, your performer name and the person's real name. So like if she was on her Twitch as Zelina Vega, then I could see where WWE would be concerned, like, hey, this is our copyright, this is our license, but I believe she was on there under her real name, and I think she should be entitled to use her real name, as even if it does rival the direction of the company. And I give the same example when it comes to the NFL, the Major League Baseball, and even the NBA. You have that Players Association, which is their union, and when you have rival promotions and their athletes are promoting something that is not entwined with the league, you see that athlete in a generic jersey selling something that just their name is like, and it says pro basketball player. It doesn't mention the NBA team, doesn't mention the NBA. It just be like, Grant Hill, we're selling barbecue sauce, and that's not a sponsor of the NBA. Go ahead, Marcus.
They can't do, I feel like that's what they can't do with WWE. Like, I feel like if you were even to start, let's say if she was to start I don't know, a cereal company where Zelina Vega and Andrade present cereal, but under their real names and whatnot, I feel like Vince would want his money in that too. I feel like you can't do anything. Like, there's no reason to take people cameo money or Twitch money.
Wasn't it a few weeks ago where the announcement was that they also own their names?
Yeah, like they try to say that they own their real name, and it's like, I don't think they own their real names. Like,
yeah, I feel like any job, you can't just be like, hey, I have a side hustle, but yeah, you got to give me that Postmates money. Like,
but that's technically
that DoorDash to me.
That's what Vince is trying to do. He's like, hey man, any money you make is my money, just because we know who you are. But at the same time, he wants to get away with them being independent contractors, which is, it won't fly. It might have fly the last 4 years, but I just don't see this type of operation continuing on for the foreseeable future, because at the end of the day, the main stars, the Randy Ortons, the Drew McIntyres, the Roman Reigns, they're going to be okay because they're not trying to make that supplemental income from social media. Because guess what? They're on TV each week and they get their payday. But the wrestlers who don't never show up, like the as Marcus told me, to recently re-sign No Way Jose, he needs him some social media money.
I said he's on the verge of being re-signed.
Oh, whatever, man. It's like I just think that at the end of the day, whether Zelina was in WWE or not, if she created an OnlyFans, a Twitch, it's going to be popular because she's an attractive young lady. When you think about the success of some of these social media channels, it's like Paige has a very successful one because she's Paige. AJ has one because people like AJ, but I think the women has a more chance of being more successful in this because, let's quite frankly, the demographic for male wrestling fans are male, and they like to look at pretty women. And as El Luchador said in the chat, Andrew Yang is coming for that ass, Vince, and I think he's right. Like, let's say Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, puts Scott Yang in charge of the Labor Commission. What the hell happens then? That's a very...
Vince is fucked.
That
Vince is 100% fucked.
That is very, 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 very scary for Vince McMahon, who's been working under the independent contractor thing for so long. The question for you, Manny, do you think professional wrestlers could unionize? I mean, it's been almost 40 years you've been talking about a wrestler union, and they haven't even got the basic foundation for one. Could you see it happening?
I think now is probably the best time for like it to happen, given that they're essentially trying to take their money away. It's like, because like there's nothing with them being independent contract, there's nothing stopping them from taking individual bookings elsewhere. But because they've slapped this WWE contract on them, it's as if they can't. But in reality, they still can.
Yeah, because if they can't take these individual bookings or this side stuff, then that makes you a full-time employee at this point. With like, there's no argument. Yeah, with no benefits.
With no benefits of being an employee.
Yeah, the interesting thing is
that it's still reaping all the reward. And, you know, I don't understand, even business-wise, why Vince isn't allowing this. Like, I feel like it's extra money that he doesn't need. Like, they're getting this money, whatever, because they're going to need it. Considering the pandemic, you can't have live appearances. They're not able to do any of these random WWE house shows or, you know, WWE access. This is a good, like, feeling for that gap of money, and I don't understand why this is an issue for him or for the company.
Manny, I'm about to have your back because, you know, Wes is talking crazy out there. I mean, he talking about he's going to unionize the lumber chat. Let me be a dictator in this situation. If you try to unionize the lumber chat, I would just disable the chat and it won't exist. And where will you take your army to? Go ahead, Manny. I got you, buddy.
Boom.
With that being said,
just let him do it. Just let him do it. Who is it gonna hurt? It don't matter.
Manny,
it's not like we're making money, and I'm damn sure anybody that forms a union against this show will lose money as well.
I just got to point out, if he tries to unionize the lumber chat, he has to at least be on every show in the lumber chat. And where were you for the last 2 weeks? Huh?
Wow.
I didn't see you.
Wow.
I didn't see you. We monitor the chat on the Untitled Manny and Marcus show.
They do, man.
As well as the Sharpshooter show. So where were you?
Hey, you know what? In the line that he just put, that they are stronger than the Beehive. If you were stronger than the Beehive, we would be stronger than the Beehive. We can't even get an invitation to think about joining the Beehive. The Beehive doesn't even know we exist.
I'm sure there's one member of the Beehive that goes.
But because I don't want the Beehive to attack me right now. So Marcus,
fuck the Beehive. Attack me. We need the views.
With that being said,
Beyonce, sting me home.
I don't even know where we went down there.
I have no idea where I was going.
Manny, you know, Marcus talked about the whole idea about, you know, Lana started all this pretty much when she was on Twitch with a rival sponsor and something of that happened. And then it made Vince realize that he needed to shut down all these people's stuff. Do you think Lana is to blame for everything, or was this going to happen eventually?
It was going to happen eventually. Everyone was doing it. Like, everyone had a Twitch channel. And, like, it would only take one person to tell Vince, oh, you know, they're actually making money out of this. And, like, as an employer, though, how do you go, that's money I'm not seeing?
I mean, like,
I'm missing out on this.
So, like, and then, of course, when she had her announcement of her being released, the first thing that everything comes up is, oh, she's AEW bound. She's AEW bound. And my first thing is that, quite frankly, I don't think that's the case because although WWE released her, I'm pretty sure she's free to go Twitch her life away. But I'm pretty sure there's some type of no compete wrestling clause where she can't appear.
There will be 90 days. But I got to ask you this question. Do you think this is just to send a message to everyone else still trying to hold on to their Twitches, their TikToks, whatever? Do you think this is a message to be sent? I think she's the scapegoat.
So, Manny, let me tell you something. So you said how it would be 90 days. I don't think it will be 90 days. I think this is probably some type of new release that WWE is probably doing where they're releasing them from their
It's night.
Have they announced the release already?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, because maybe me, if I was the businessman, and I'm the evil businessman that I am, because we have to admit, whether we like AEW or not, it has shaken the foundation of what professional wrestling is. I don't think they're much better than WWE because they're not big enough to be better when it comes to the businesses, but eventually they're going to be just as evil as WWE. But if I was WWE, I would have told her, yeah, okay, we'll release you from that so you can go do your Twitch and stuff like that. But you know what? You can't wrestle until your natural contract expires. That's what I would hold her out. Like, you just can't wrestle.
But you've raised the question about AEW. They're bound to be like that, though, because they've got their foot in the Jaguars. They've got their foot in Fulham Football Club in the UK. And what happens with their players? Because their players are, let's say they are their employees, but they follow the rule of it's just business. They'll cut you high and dry just like that.
Yeah, but
everyone. So people have got to realize that it's just a business.
But Manny, no one realizes that because guess what? Everyone says that AEW is better and it's a better environment for the performers. But I think at the end of the day, they're a business, and the mighty dollar is what makes everything goes around. Like, this sounds very heartless when I say it, but Zelina Vega being released is not the biggest loss to WWE. Now, let's say Alan Jones decides that he's going to walk away and say, you know what, fuck this. I want to have my Twitch. Then that's a big problem. Or as...
I feel like the New Day would be their big one they would care about. Considering how popular of a group that is over the years and all the history, all the records they hold with tag titles and Kofi Kingston and everything. If the New Day say, hey, man, we can't do up, down, down stuff, we out, Vince.
Well, but see, Mark, you have to understand that Xavier actually partnered with WWE for up, down, down. So that's like a joint venture. That's not like his own entity.
Can I also add, though, that I can see that, Vince seeing the dollar signs that everybody's making. Like when Big E was making his cameo money. When people were going, what? He made how much? Fuck that. I got to get my head of this. And I can see them coming out with an alternative thing for their own network where you can watch people live stream on the WWE network and them trying to get money out of that. Like, on that side, if they were doing that, I would understand it. And if they were paying their employees the money, properly. Like, hey, we're going to give Zelina Vega, come watch her do her Twitch on the WWE network, and they paid her a subsequent amount of money to do it. I would support their decisions, but they're not even doing that. I
don't think that suggestion would even draw the amount of money that they would make on Twitch.
No, because now they're part of the brand. They're sellouts now.
No, but they'll be part of the brand. But then if you're watching on the WWE network, you're only getting that if you're paying $10 or £10 a month. Whereas on Twitch, you sub to that person and then you have to pay for that.
Well, they can make up supplement things. They can make people buy stuff. Like let's say I'm watching Zelina Vega's Twitch, and then all of a sudden they're like, we're going to sell Zelina Vega's outfit from 2 weeks ago or something. Holy on Twitch, they get their hand in that. Or if they do a Dexter Loomis painting, you can buy some shit like that, or we'll auction it off in this Twitch. You can always make money that way.
I'm not being funny, though, but if Dexter Loomis did something where he drew on Twitch and then sold the painting, that would be one of the most relaxing things to watch because it would be like Bob Ross.
Yeah, I mean,
only creepier.
Yeah. If you guys remember when
I just want him to stare at the camera.
I think when Twitch started or one of those streaming services, WWE had partnered with a different one that it failed miserably with. I can't remember what.
Tout.
Yeah, and
when you see it was basically Twitter with video, and you send a 30-second or a statement like, "I hate you with all this, and I get you, Seth Rollins." Do you think it's bitterness?
I think it's a lot of I think it's just that, you know what? I think it's one thing about age and not understanding the social media that, unfortunately, nowadays it's the control. You don't have the same amount of control that you had over your performance back in the day. I mean, this might be a serious statement to make, but I'm going to compare it to something that might be. It's kind of like racism. Like racism back in the day was that, like, I could be racist, I can call you the N-word, I can treat you like shit, but you're just gonna turn the other cheek. Well, nowadays, this racism, you call me the N-word, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna kick your ass. It's not that same type of, like, the times has changed where people are not gonna tolerate the same bullshit that you did 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Yeah, racism ain't what it used to be, man. It used to be good. Make racism great again.
Oh, wow.
I believe they've tried.
I believe we had that resurgence. Racism's come back hard.
But I think my question for everyone...
You going to drink for the black water fountain? No, there ain't no more water for black people. That was the new racism. But it never got.
The question is, though, is that when AEW start doing these type of practices and things like that, will the internet community hold AEW just as accountable as they do WWE? Or do you think they're going to get a pass? Because, I mean, it's bad enough on AEW that they keep using the poor Jacksonville Jaguars cheerleaders. I hope they're getting some money for their appearances that they're making with their title, their 2 steps that they're doing.
Well, this is what I heard about cheerleaders in general. They make minimum wage.
I know.
And they only get money off their appearances. So they get whatever they get.
Isn't that their just side job? Like, they got an actual job.
Most of them do. Like, technically, being a cheerleader is probably worse than being a wrestler in WWE because you can't do shit outside, really, because that's your whole career, while everybody else makes a bunch of money.
You got to make weight. I'm pretty sure that, them trying to do this as a side hustle. A lot of times, the main goal, for some of them, I'm not saying all of them, might just be, I hope this NFL player hook up with me because I'm so fucking broke.
But the one thing that I can say that is the most dangerous thing about the release of Zelina Vega is that she might have been the worst person that they could release because she's one of the few that can articulate herself well enough to get her point across of how the practices in WWE are inhumane, unjust, and just not right. And
yeah, she's a wrestling ALC.
She could do that, but you got to also remember her husband's still employed.
Well,
so
the report the report that I read is that Tommy, aka Aleister Black, asked to go back to NXT. He wants to leave SmackDown and go back to NXT. They told him, you on SmackDown. So I think when it really comes to WWE,
is he going through a table 10 times a week?
Like,
10 times a year.
Ideally, as a wrestler, the show that you want to work on is NXT. Because apparently working under Triple H and Shawn Michaels and even the rumor of The Undertaker coming down to help people in NXT, that's where you want to be at. True, all the money is on SmackDown and Raw, but if you're not the big dog or Drew McIntyre, you ain't doing nothing else, really. Right?
But isn't that a case for everything, though? It's like, when you look back at, like, the Attitude Era, if you weren't The Rock or Austin, even Triple H or The Undertaker, were you really doing anything other than, like, skits?
You're in random comedy skits and getting stunned by Steve Austin and being ridiculed by The Rock. Every now and then you'll get a good match between some people, but it'd be very rare between. I guess you'd be like, oh, I'm glad they did that.
One rap song summed it up so perfectly. There's levels to this shit. Roman Reigns has said this week in and week out. There are levels to this, and you're not at my level yet, Jay. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are not at that level of Roman. And as we segue into talking about SmackDown this week, I would play this little ditty where Roman Reigns just puts out how he feels about everything.
I like you, Drew. Always have.
You like him. I
respect you, too. Everything you said was the truth.
You know, Eric, on this part, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Roman Reigns, but you should put like an image of Roman talking or something, because now it's just us staring into a camera blank.
Nobody knows who you are.
No one knows.
I don't watch Raw.
He don't.
You're not missing much.
It's all good. Nobody does.
Nobody watches that.
Watches that show because they're all watching SmackDown.
Yes, because SmackDown is where it's at.
SmackDown because they're all watching me.
And that's right. And I end right there because
true.
You know what the problem with that statement was? That nobody's watching Raw because they're all watching SmackDown. They're different days, Roman.
Well, see, Manny,
from that whole thing.
No, I believe he's comparing the quality at this point.
Manny,
I'm not eating your Big Mac because I got me an In-N-Out burger or a Steak Shack or not Steak Shack, Shake Shack. Or I got, about Five Guys and Whataburger. I don't have to eat your bullshit no more overall. Okay? I have eaten I got Friday nights to look forward to get me a good meal. So
and arguably, you can say wrestling doesn't start till Wednesday. Like, it's Wednesday and Friday, because what happens on Monday makes absolutely no sense. Now, I will say, well, Marcus, what happens on Impact doesn't make they just lost the Rascals, man. Good luck to them in their WWE future endeavors, man. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But like
they get a switch, and then Vince McMahon allows them to have it.
Like, when you come to WWE Monday Night Raw, first of all, we all agree that 3 hours is extremely too much. But then when you go down on the surface and you look and you try to pick out what happened in that 3 hours that was remotely entertaining, you can't find much. Like, go ahead. When I texted Manny and Marcus, I was like, man, this is hard to get through. Marcus said, have you gotten to Titus yet? I was like, no. And when Titus O'Neil is one of the highlights of the show, there's a problem.
No, don't you dare talk about Titus like that. You put respect on that man's name.
No, that man has respect.
He's doing things for the community and everything. You put some respect on that motherfucker's name.
Manny, I gotta watch him on TV.
Manny,
keep doing what you do.
He respected the fact of what Titus did for the community. Because, he's helping the community. But Bobby Lashley, who couldn't even get his lines out correctly, messed up. But I did laugh that Titus came out there to whip ass because he had no shirt on. Anytime you see a man show up with no shirt on, he's kicking ass at that point. But then Bobby got his ass. Marcus, what did you like about the Titus O'Neil Hurt Business segment?
There was follow-up to it. He got his ass beat, and we never heard from Titus again. And in most WWE storylines or on the TV show, things do get forgotten. And they never come back to it. And finally, when Titus came out, I was like, he full of hell. He's going out there. He's going to march with me behind him to get some revenge on this Hurt Business. And he's going to take him out. And so when he came out there, he was throwing them hands. And it was just those closed fists at Bobby. I was like, get him, Titus. I had a throwback image of Titus in the Underground, which was the best Titus we got in years.
Yeah, that's what you saw a Mandigo fight right there. That's what you saw right there. It was going down for you.
I saw my neighbors. I saw someone's boyfriend. The old one he got thrown out the house for some shit. Come back for revenge on the new boyfriend, but he still got his ass whipped because that's why he's the new boyfriend.
Manny, I'm going to ask you a different question because the other thing that stood out to me about Monday Night Raw was AJ Styles trying to be the peacemaker and try to bring his team together of Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, Sheamus, and Riddle.
Why did you sigh when you mentioned Keith Lee?
Because I couldn't remember his name. I was going to call him everything but Keith Lee. I was going to call him.
We named you after Beef Lee, and you forgot about his name.
So the thing that stood out the most to me was that AJ made himself the special guest referee, and he took some of the most unnecessary bumps in professional wrestling. But it was one bump when they smashed AJ that I realized that his bodyguard or his associate, because he doesn't have a name, he's named Associate, could barely get into the ring with ease. Manny, did you care about Team Raw and their dysfunction and the bodyguard just not being able to move?
What? I don't understand why all the Survivor Series teams are at dysfunction. It just doesn't make any sense. But then this bodyguard, I would, if I was Vince, I'd be pissed at him from the very beginning. So like when he comes out with AJ, when AJ does his entrance and bounces off the ropes and then the fireworks go off, he's barely at his mark to stand behind AJ.
He's a slow lumbering man.
He's a slow man. He needs to be he needs to be fired.
He's the legs that go with Keith Lee's voice.
And then I guess I should have both of you guys with this. Lana went through another table. We actually got a package highlighting how many times she went through a table. Go ahead, Marcus.
Can I talk about the Survivor Series team? I want to say the SmackDown women seem to have their shit together. They have not beefed at all. They're forming slowly, forming a team without Natty.
Marcus,
but
you
they
a
have
damn
no
lie.
beef inside. They have no beef in there
because Natty ain't on the team. Marcus.
Bianca and Ruby get along. Liv Morgan added to the team. And wasn't there somebody else I'm missing out?
No, because Chelsea Green showed up and hurt her wrist again.
No, but she's not going to be on the team.
Yeah, because she hurt. She got injured in the match.
She wasn't going to be on the team. She didn't win the match.
Because she broke her wrist when she fell off the apron in the first 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then was taken away.
Yeah. and the same thing happened at NXT when she made her debut. She has one of the biggest trick ricks in the game.
But this has nothing to do with her, I think. She's
Marcus,
going to win that match.
I kind of feel like they might have pulled an audible of giving it to
No.
I knew Liv was going in.
The only reason Chelsea was in that match is because Zelina walked out earlier that day. That's pretty much, I think, what happened. I feel like Chelsea is someone that was there. They wanted to make it a fatal 4-way, and Zelina Vega just walked out. They saw her give an attitude to Vince, talk about, I'm going to do my switch, and you ain't going to stop me, okay? And then she walks out, and then, firing later. And then Chelsea was like, I don't have a switch. My husband's Zack Ryder. Put me on the show. And then she broke her wrist. Chelsea Green can't get a break. Bring in Vanessa Bourne.
So, my question for you guys.
Another NXT call-up to the main roster, apparently, a quiet one, was Santana Garrett.
Oh, the female, right?
None of us know who she is.
Well, if I remember Santana Garrett, she's the semi-attractive lady that comes out there. She got all the outfits looking like she's about to be a good wrestler, and then she always goes out there and lose. If I remember Santana Garrett.
Can I volunteer and say, how come Billie Kay wasn't in this match? I know she was in a qualifying match already.
Yeah, why does the boat get 3 qualifying matches, and then Billie Kay can't even get another one?
Yeah. This week, I'm disappointed. I didn't get Billie Kay try to sell her headshot and resume to somebody. That's all I need.
Billie Kay deserves bell.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, we're gonna jump back into SmackDown real quick.
We're back on Raw. I thought we were on Raw.
Yeah, we're still on Raw right now. My last question for you guys is that Mustafa.
I like to say trash.
Mustafa Ali fought Ricochet. Ricochet just needs to join these guys and just at least he can get on TV. I mean, Mia Yim might be the best talker outside of everybody else. Retribution had hope, but then, I don't know what's going on. I just don't know. Marcus.
Did they win this week? Did they not win this week?
Well, they beat Ricochet. Everybody beats Ricochet. That's like when you saw Apollo Crews going against Sami Zayn. You knew who was winning that match.
I didn't.
You didn't. Really?
I didn't. No,
because at some point one of them is going to switch it up. So we're not getting what was advertised to go on to Survivor Series. And this would have been the one. This would have been the one.
It's going to be the Hurt Business versus the Street Profits.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
I wanted the New Day, damn it. I wanted the New Day versus the Street Profits. I mean, I think both teams are energized about this feud in a very fun-loving way, but I think it's going to come down to Dawkins getting throwing them hands on somebody because they keep making fun of his sleepy ass.
You don't. So
talking about
based on SmackDown, and Drew showing up to SmackDown unannounced to the Big Dogs territory without even an invitation, you don't think that Drew McIntyre has a chance of beating Randy this Monday to take that title and fight Roman for a rematch from WrestleMania? I mean, from the Royal Rumble. No, you don't think that's gonna happen?
You want to know why? You want to know why, fella? I'm gonna give you a reason why, fella. It's because Sheamus ain't gonna let that happen. Drew has changed, man. He's like that Tupac song when we used to run ski. I can't even remember the damn lines. I'm too tired. But only part where he's like, I used to fend for your sister, but never went up in her. But I don't know.
Wow.
That's the line that comes up to me right now.
He ain't mad at you.
He ain't mad at him, but he talking all this shade about him. Like, you got a player for life, and that's for real. That's what he's going to do because Drew done changed on him. Sheamus is out there telling him, life is bad. I needed you on this team. You ain't doing shit on this show. Like, you're doing nothing. We need you on this team. Look at what we got. I got Keith Lee, who's maybe mentally slow. I got AJ Styles, who may be mentally slow. I have Matt Riddle, who may be mentally slow. I have... and then I don't even remember who the other person is on that team.
Braun Strowman.
Oh, I got Braun Strowman, who drowned in a swamp earlier in the year and shaved his head, who may be mentally slow. He needed a competent wrestler on that team, and Drew let him down. And Drew was over there making fun of his anger about this, and I understand it. God damn it.
I guess the last thing, I thought I was finished with Raw, but I forgot one thing. Manny, have you ever been in that situation that Nikki Cross was at where you thought your friendship was so strong that you offered up, you made somebody give a choice?
No,
like either stay
never
with me.
make an ultimatum.
You stay
never make an ultimatum like that. That was the stupidest thing she ever did in her life. Who makes an ultimatum when you know the answer is going to be the opposite direction?
I mean,
because
she's wearing the Fiend's gloves right there. She was like, okay, I choose the Fiend. Bye. It's like, what the hell?
For the record, anybody that has ever made an ultimatum to anybody, if you have to make that ultimatum, you are clearly on the outs. You're clearly on the outs. It's like, oh, it's even me and you. And I'm going to quote a wise woman about this in defense of Nikki Cross. What are you, pumped up with Dick? Dick ain't going to take care of you. That is a wise woman that said that. And that's what she should have came out with instead of this ultimatum.
But no, Marcus.
I had to tell Nikki.
Marcus, that wise woman is also alone without a best friend.
But Marcus,
that wise woman is my mother, man.
but Marcus, let me point out something.
Actually see that?
Yes, she did. She did.
Yeah.
That was advice she gave.
What was the situation?
She was giving it to our sisters, man.
I don't care about Raw anymore. I need to know the full situation of what happened there.
It was to my sister, and it was an ultimatum about whoever she was with at the time and running out in the streets. And she was like, "What? You pumped up with Dick? Like that's basically meaning you a woman now? Dick ain't gonna take care of you, so she gonna go to the streets." And that was the falling out.
That's a completely different situation, though. That's a mother talking to her daughter.
Yes.
This is a friend talking to another friend.
Exactly.
And then,
but I'm still saying that line should have happened.
But wait a minute. But Marcus, see, I think you guys missed the whole point. Nikki got pissed right here. She's jealous because before Nikki even opened up her mouth, she was like, "Hey, Nikki, I can't wait for you to come over to the fun house." She was going to get an invitation to the fun house. But then she messed it up when she decided, I need you to pick either me or the Fiend. I'm sorry. I'm picking the Fiend too. Looks like I'm going to have a better time.
Here's my question about this. I think it's jealousy, man. Hey, at the start of their careers, who was the nice, peaceful baby face? I want to be your friend every now and then before she started doing all this, when she was coming out as a pixie back in the day. That was Alexa Bliss. And who was the psycho, the crazy person that could do anything? It was Nikki Cross. She done stole her gimmick of being crazy and done it better. And that's what it is. It is jealousy. The Fiend should have chose her, is what she's thinking. So in this storyline, Nikki Cross is the heel and is going to be eradicated by whatever Alexa Bliss... eradicated by whatever Alexa Bliss comes into. Because she knows Alexa Bliss is going to be a monster too. She's going to be a monster.
Well,
indestructible.
Well, speaking of monsters,
works better for her as a wrestler.
Speaking of monsters, we're gonna jump right back into SmackDown because Roman Reigns is a monster, and I think we can, all three of us can agree that the opening of SmackDown was very good because you had the surprise return of Drew McIntyre, you had Roman talking to Drew, and Roman was in full control, but then his damn out of control cousin came down to the ring and started making matches. what I loved about this segment is that you could tell that Roman was pissed, but he didn't say anything in the ring because he wasn't gonna put his business out there in front of the millions of people watching on the screw. He went to the back and found a cameraman and chewed Jey Uso's ass out in the back. And Marcus,
well, I feel like the cameraman found this conversation. They cut to the back in mid, I think, cuss out, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it was mid. What the fuck are you doing out there? I told you. I didn't ask you to fight my belt. Did I ask you to step up to Drew? Did I ask you answer me? Like, I was like, damn.
Marcus, to quote, he said he got upset. I make the matches. I call the shots around here. Do you understand? And you damn right he does. Manny, is that how you be a boss and a manager at your place of business? Is that what you do?
No, if you want to get called up to HR, you don't do that.
But in ditch's servant business that Roman is in, I think that's how you talk to people, though, right? And I feel like that's how Vince McMahon was talking to Zelina Vega in the back, talking all crazy like that. I make the Twitch channels. I tell you where to be and when to be. And then I can see Zelina going like, you don't tell me shit. You old crusty white man.
Tell you something, guys. You don't get invited to HillCon if you don't talk to people like that.
You don't. You just don't. You just don't. So then,
you know who talks to people like that? Tully talks to people like that. And I'm talking about baristas at Starbucks. It don't matter. You put the cream in my drink. You
don't fucking charge me more.
You don't charge me more. You need this tip. I don't need this tip. You need this tip.
You know what, Marcus? I'm waiting for you to do your Keith Lee voice. Don't make me angry. I'm tired of this shit.
Y'all need to stop fucking with me.
So Sami Zayn got a win over Apollo Crews by tying his leg up into the apron. I guess that's all that needs to be said about that, right?
Motherfucker to get tied up into an apron. How did that happen? He just put his foot in there.
You know,
and Sami Zayn. And the thing about SmackDown, this is my difference between SmackDown and Raw, and I believe it's intended that way. All the good mic skills are on SmackDown. Everybody that I just want to see each of these characters. I enjoy the Sami Zayn character. I enjoy the Roman character. I enjoy the Jey Uso in the Roman character. I enjoy all these characters on SmackDown who have all this personality that's larger than life. In Raw, you get none of that.
Well, I already told you why all the good talkers are now on SmackDown. It's because the USA Network need Raw. Fox don't need SmackDown. Yep. So SmackDown need to produce the numbers. That's why every good person, all the good feuds moved over to SmackDown.
And it makes Friday night actually for a wrestler fan really enjoyable. I mean, Marcus, let me ask the question. Are you talking about what we need? Do you need Carmella? Because, like, she cut Sasha Banks off with the O's. You know, she talked to the production man in the truck to play the Bayley music, and then she came and got it. I don't think I need Sasha versus Carmella. I just don't need that in my life.
I'm okay with it. I mean, she needs to switch it up for Bayley anyway and do what she does against other people. I mean, she's not Johnny Gargano. She's going to retain against Carmella, who is claiming to be untouchable these days. So she's going to get her ass whooped. She's going to get her ass whooped, and Sasha's going to move on. Sasha's the star of The Mandalorian right now.
She only had 4 lines in that episode. Let's not say star.
She was in there. She was in there, okay? She is a star.
She basically made a cameo. It wasn't a star.
It was a star-making performance, all right?
Well, you know what? Marcus talking about stars. I think a star is back on track because you know what? You know, fuck Tucker Knight, but Otis was back on track in this episode. He was back in catering with his 3 plates, and then Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode had the audacity to make fun of the man with 3 plates. And goddamn it, sometimes you don't want your food to touch. I understand Otis's plight of why he had 3 plates in front of him, and I was so happy.
He had 3 plates because he was eating his feelings. Leave him alone, Eric.
Whatever he was doing,
was going through depression.
Dolph Ziggler need to leave his ass alone. But I was so happy that Otis beat Dolph's ass. But then backstage, Alpha Academy is starting, and I'm liking where it's going. Manny, Chad Gable trying to work out Otis to get back in shape. Did you like that? Are you a fan of Alpha Academy?
I am, but I feel like it's gonna be. I can't remember the guy's name from NXT. He was in NXT for a while, but I remember something being. It was resembled Bull Fit or something like that, where really.
Oh my God, Bull Dipsy!
Yeah, where he was telling him to get into shape, and the skits were going funny till the point it was like, we're releasing you.
Yeah, like, it was going good. He was getting over. People were enjoying it. You're fired.
But you have to admit that Gable and Otis being somehow linked together is quite intriguing.
Well, they're real life best friends.
They are?
Yeah.
Shit, did not know that.
When Gable got signed, I think he was training with Otis because they were in the Olympic team together or something along those lines. So when he got signed, he basically moved in with Gable or next door to him. And then when Gable moved out to get a house when he was making that SmackDown or main roster money, when Otis got called up, he basically lives on the same street as Gable now. So best friends.
So my best friend. Can I say something though about Gable Academy?
Go ahead, so Marcus.
I don't think you can have that right now. If Thatcher is doing that's scared and he's trading people, I feel like Gable can't be trading people at the same time because unless these two factions of tradings are going to conflict with each other, I don't want to see it. Just like I don't want to see Otis at Survivor Series unless he's fighting Tucker Knight. He should be on the SmackDown team. Tucker should be on the Raw team, and we should have that moment of them finally staring each other off one last time.
All right, so I need to correct a couple things in the chat room. First, Chris says Carmella and Pete Dunne need to step away from the tanning bed. That is correct. And then El Luchador, who's been missing, has not figured out that I know his name is Pete Dunne and not Pete Dunne. I've gotten right for 2 weeks in a row, people. 2 weeks in a row. Longest streak ever. Yeah. Pete Dunne, damn it. Pete Dunne.
Still not as long as Lana going through a table.
You're right. I still have a long way to go. But
can we talk about Lana for a bit?
Go ahead. I thought we did already.
No, we briefly covered Lana. I think we talked about the women.
Also, shout out to Tucker Knight becoming a 24/7 champion for brief moments.
No, Eric, two-time,
yes.
His career is going in the right direction, guys.
His career is going booming.
But Mark, you said you want to talk about Lana.
Yeah. Are you? I want to ask you. Are you pro Lana being the sole survivor at Survivor Series?
I'm okay with that, Marcus.
Are you okay with this push of Lana?
I'm okay with it. I mean, like, this is the best work Lana has done in a while. And, like, she's one of the few females who ascended their level. Like, we'll talk about Brandy later on when we start talking about AEW, who had a pretty good week, too. I feel that although Vince's putting Lana through a table might have been misguided, I think it's actually been working to make you feel sympathy for Lana and think that she's not as bad as they put her out to be.
Well, I think it was Don in the chat, and then maybe Marcus expanded on it. Nia Jax is going to put Lana through a table very early on in the Survivor Series match, and people are going to forget that Lana exists, and then Lana's going to just pick up the easy, cheap roll-up win to be the sole survivor of the Raw team.
After Nia Jax get pinned, because
go ahead.
It has to leave with Nia Jax getting pinned after she destroys a lot of people, and it might be like a Bianca Belair at the end, and then next the fluke victory of Lana coming and rolling up Bianca because it still protects Bianca, but Nia got beat.
No, that's the next question. She's gonna pin Bianca.
I think Natty's gonna make the team. I think Natty's gonna make the team.
Nobody wants Natty on this team.
Yeah, but it makes sense storyline-wise that Natty dumped her.
Oh.
Natty dumped her and said, you're trash. If they do this could be the greatest long-term storytelling and consistent that WWE has ever did. If Natty makes that team and Lana gets the roll-up victory on Natty at the end, it will be a satisfying ending to a story.
I mean,
instead of Bianca getting pinned and people going, that's some bullshit.
I mean, to the credit of WWE, I mean, they have made us care about the Women's Survivor Series match. I mean, I'm intrigued by it. I mean, Shayna and Nia look like they're two people that no one on SmackDown except for Bianca can beat. So we'll see.
But I think there's a spot open on the Raw team, right?
No, they're all filled.
I think Mandy got hurt.
No, the Raw team is Mandy is hurt, but I don't know if that has.
Allegedly, Nia Jax may have hurt her, even though I think Nia was just in the ring when Mandy decided to hurt herself.
It's easy to blame Nia. But
Nia's got a gravitational pull for injuries, so
let's just talk about the a lackluster conclusion.
4 days without Nia injuring anybody.
A lackluster conclusion to a feud. That I felt that just fell flat. It was Seth Rollins against Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio seemed extremely off because maybe he knew his daughter was going to end up with Buddy Murphy at the end. Going down under. Going down under. This match just was like, okay, I get it. The whole family's there. Marcus, that is very nasty, and I'm going to turn to Manny. Yeah, whatever. Manny, the conclusion.
I stand by Marcus's joke.
Oh, wow.
Where he's going to take her to the Outback?
Oh,
that's even worse.
He gonna be a dango that ate her baby, huh?
Oh, next thing you know, you're gonna say something about like putting her shrimp on her Barbie, Marcus. We need to stop, Manny. I'm going to you. Did you like the conclusion of this feud?
Well, it's not really over, is it? Because he wants perfect. I made him. I made him.
I made him fish. I'm gonna be a father. I need to go away. But yeah, this ended with it was like, this is the end of this, huh? We've been at this since fucking March or April or something. When I lose it, people get thrown off of roofs and stuff. This has been going on a long time. Since Becky Lynch left. That's how long this feud's been going on. And it's finally over. Randomly on SmackDown. And it's not even over. It was just an awkward finish of everybody knowing what was happening. I'm not for this. I need Aaliyah to kick him, Buddy in the balls.
How this started. Rey Mysterio congratulated him for being a father.
That's pretty much, yeah. He congratulated him being a father, and isn't it fitting that Seth is going to take time off to be a father because at the end of this feud? Maybe he comes back and change man.
Because you're a father. So
congratulations. It's a huge responsibility being a father. 1 eye, no, 2 eyes later. And Aleister Black got some casualty in this. Just like, this has been I believe Dominic's career has been halted.
Yeah, what is that? Like, I haven't seen him wrestle in a very long time.
Yeah, no place to wrestle on SmackDown. I'm hoping that him and Ray become a tag team and they go like that.
Jeremy Bishop said, "Is
Ray
Marcus?" Jeremy Bishop said, "Is Ray colorblind? Because his gear tells me he is."
Yep.
His gear. So as we talk about SmackDown, started off well, and I thought SmackDown ended even better. It's Jay versus Drew McIntyre. Roman finally makes his way down to ringside, and he tells Jay, make him understand. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So Jay apparently gets it. He starts putting all these punches on Drew McIntyre, and it does absolutely nothing to Drew because Drew gets up and gives him the Claymore. But afterwards, this is where true boss level shit happens. Drew McIntyre gets out the ring. He confronts Roman Reigns, and he's like, do you understand me now? Do you understand me now? And Roman looks at him with his cold, dead eyes and says, get one of these and then come and talk to me. And then he walks away. And I was like, God damn it. That's some cold shit right there. That's my champion.
Way too much. This felt like WrestleMania was happening right here. And maybe it's a build right here to Drew and Roman at WrestleMania. Although I think the build is toward Rock and Drew and Roman at WrestleMania. But Swerve is Rock and Drew McIntyre. But what do you think about this draft? Should they end the brand split to save Raw and to just stop with the shenanigans?
Well,
Marcus, stop with the shenanigans.
No, because then we'll get a diluted version of SmackDown. I don't really want that.
If they truly
you can still do SmackDown the way you do SmackDown, but you can add these SmackDown, some of the maybe a Sami Zayn here and there and stuff on Raw.
No.
Like, you don't have to overdo it.
Marcus, if they really want to save Raw, there's one thing that they need to do. And everyone's been saying it for the last 5 years. You make it 2 hours. You make it 2 hours again. You make it 2 hours. 3 hours is just too long. Like, what makes it great is that on our time, SmackDown starts at 5 o'clock and at 7 o'clock it's over. If you're on the East Coast, it starts at 8 o'clock and then 10 o'clock is over. So if you want to go bar hopping, if the bars were open, you can go bar hopping. Monday? On a Friday.
Oh. I thought you were talking about Raw. I was like, on a Monday night?
Shit, people bar hop on a Monday, man. Some people weekend is Monday.
You do, but you shouldn't be doing. I mean,
on a Monday.
Like, I'm about to
go
on
Monday. What direction are you going? You're hitting a bar that hard on a Monday.
Like, have you in the casino industry? There are no such thing as days. They're just days off. So you just find days to go hard. Yeah, I don't really think anybody really goes hard on a Monday, even on then though. You don't go hard on a Monday.
Marcus, that's Chris is disappointed with you because you are not yelling Drew McIntyre here when we say Drew McIntyre.
No, Drew McIntyre here. Well, I didn't get an introduction to being Marcus the Grand Finale today, so I don't have to say anything that's related to this show.
So let's jump over to NXT.
What final thing?
Okay.
Sorry. I forgot what it was. It's over. Let's go. Oh, no. Oh, here it was. You criticized Raw for being a problem with being 3 hours on Monday. I watched 4 hours of NXT and AEW on a Wednesday, and it doesn't feel as long. It never does.
Yeah. But
Raw's just that bad.
No, it's two different shows, though. It's two completely different shows that you're watching on NXT and AEW. And
but the 2 hours of the 4 hours of AEW I watched just seems like it's just better content what you get on Raw.
You're not watching 4 hours of AEW. You're watching 2 hours of AEW.
Sometimes it feels like
that. Nah, AEW does feel like you're watching like a really long show.
Yeah.
Even though, because I watched the Fight TV stream, and that just feels so long.
Yeah, it's limited commercials. It's a real 2 hours of watching wrestling. So this is the longest show. Like you get like maybe it's an hour and 50 minutes of a show instead of the NXT, which is like basically an hour and a half, and you could probably even trim like 20 minutes out of packages.
I mean, like for me with AEW is that I don't have much investment in it, and that's what makes it so long. And it's the same thing with Monday Night Raw. It's like there's not much to get invested in when you're watching Monday Night Raw. Like a lot of those people, you just don't care about. Like nothing feels organic. You don't have a true ace on Monday Night Raw. Who is the star of Monday Night Raw? We don't have one. I mean, I guess it's Randy.
R-Truth.
Yeah, R-Truth might be the most. You know what? R-Truth don't miss on his segments. He don't. He thought he was going for a 7-camera GQ shoot in the middle of the ring. He didn't know what he was signed up for.
You got the Hurt Business. They do what they do. I'm always intrigued what they're gonna do. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You're like, I don't know what the segment was, but you're always kind of intrigued at what they're gonna do.
Marcus.
And then you have Retribution, who is like the Austin, like the worst hitter on a baseball team going up the bat. Like they may get a hit, but
Marcus, I think you give the Hurt Business a little bit more of a benefit of a doubt because they're black.
No,
I mean the last 2 weeks that they haven't really done anything of any importance to me. Like they're just walking out in suits.
They beat up Drew Gulak.
Ooh.
For no reason. For no reason.
He had a clip-on tie.
He gave a reasonable explanation why he had a clip-on tie because he had to get away.
Don't mean he shouldn't get his ass beat. So
why they beat up Titus then? That was the last person they beat up.
Well, dress right.
And on top of that, Marcus,
he just started showing Benjamin.
Yes,
I know.
And also, Marcus, they were hired to take care of Retribution. WWE took care of Retribution when they signed them to a contract, so they really didn't do nothing. And as El Luchador says, all the Hurt Business does is beat up other minorities, mainly black people.
Yeah, I've said that before, that they only hurt black businesses. They hurt business. Hurts only black-owned businesses.
What you're saying is they're bad for the culture.
Yeah, they are not for the culture. Something that's not for the culture is Johnny Gargano, who decided to spin the wheel because he's no longer scared of wheels to have his opponent that he was going to face in his first North American title defense. The problem is that Johnny Gargano doesn't know that he is Sasha Banks, that he cannot defend any title that he gets, but I guess he did know that because he rigged the wheel that we learned that for Leo Ruff to win. And Marcus Leon, sorry.
Respect on his name. Leon. There ain't many Leons out there anymore.
All I gotta say is the Ruff bunch has begun. Leon Ruff is the new North American Championship, and I loved every second of it. I know there were some people who were dissuaded and upset about Leon Ruff winning.
Leon Rush is gone. Leo Rush is gone. Okay? This is Leon Ruff, the better wrestler.
If you say so. So, Marcus.
He's representing North America.
Marcus, I know Leon Ruff has been on your squad for a long time. You've been a supporter of the Ruff. We all have. Marcus, was it happy to see Leon Ruff get his moment of glory?
This was almost tears of joy. Like, this was on the level of maybe a step below Kofi winning the WWE Championship. Kind of emotional.
Wow.
Seeing Leon Ruff win this title and become a North American champion. Like, it was just pure joy and the shock of it all. Like, it was just like, oh man, the will that caused Johnny this, and you got Priest, and then the fact that Priest told him to get the hell out of there and take his charger, and then Leon doesn't even have a car to drive himself out, and he got out the building, and then the fact that the belt is too big for him, and it just falls down to his ankles. Oh, this was great. It was amazing. And for people saying this is a joke, yeah, it is a joke. It's an entertaining joke that I like. And I don't give a damn. To me, what's a bigger joke is Darby Allin being your TNT title, who's only a buck higher than Leon Ruff. I ended up in an argument with some random people about this. Now, I didn't even engage.
Of course you did, Marcus.
I didn't even engage. I went to the comments and somebody like, how can they let somebody like this hold the belt? He's so small and tiny. And I was like, Darby Allin's your TNT champion. Same difference to me. I eat both for breakfast. Don't matter.
You're eating for like, breakfast?
I eat everything for breakfast, all right?
Okay.
We surviving out here in Long Beach. We surviving in these streets. You gotta eat what
there's
you
an
get.
obvious joke there, but I'm not going to take it.
I'm not going to take it either, man.
Please don't. But with that being said, for people, criticizing, oh, he's so small as a joke, 90% of the champions in all these companies are really small these days. And for people to criticize Leon Ruff for his crackhead appearance, need to back up. Back up!
Manny, do you support Marcus' comparison of Leon Ruff to Darby Allin? Do you think he makes a valid point there?
He makes a very good valid point. But I want to tell you about my story of Thursday morning when I checked out. When I was checking out a certain forum where I got called out, which I've already mentioned on Thursday. I got called out very early in the morning. I woke up at 7:20 a.m. Got called out about the AEW production being better. While during my mode of pettiness, where I had to download the show of AEW and then quickly scroll through to find any production errors, which I did find. And then once I dealt with that clapback, I scrolled further down to see what else was going on in the mid-card mess. I see the picture of Leon Ruff, and then immediately my bad mood already of waking up very angrily got turned the other way. I was excited for this man to be the rough champion of the world. We have been in support of this man the moment Aleister Black kicked the shit out of him. And I'm just happy that he has gone from jobber to champion.
Sullivan Crockpots in the chat says, I don't think the size of a wrestler really matters too much in this day and age of wrestling. Marcus, how do you take that? Do you think that is a correct statement, that the size of a wrestler doesn't matter? I
think if you're trying to get the casuals, it does matter. Because the casual look at it like, what the hell is this? That's why I don't watch wrestling no more. Like, you can honestly, you hear people say that right away. It's like, this isn't a Macho Man. This isn't a Hogan. This isn't even a John Cena or a Rock, where they're just massive men. Like, that's what brings in the casuals, is big guys that do things. Small guys don't draw people.
But Marcus,
they never have, they never will.
Well, let me put this, Marcus. You said big guys that do things. Keith Lee is a big guy that does things, but I don't think he's putting any asses in seats right now.
He had a chance, There was a chance. He had that appeal of like, who's this guy? And, he had to stare off with Lesnar, but sometimes it don't work out. AJ Styles' giant black associate ain't putting asses in the seats, but imagine him standing in front of Shaq or somebody, you go, ooh, I want to see what happens with this. Like, that's what big guys bring. Just seeing two big guys look at each other brings that, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. That's why Undertaker and Kane were a draw. I want to see what's going to happen here.
So, Manny, let me ask you this question. Moving on to something else in NXT. Shotzi Blackheart gave a promo talking about what her tank represented and how it represented her family members in the military. And Candice LeRae shitted all over that. Do you like the direction that they're going with Shotzi against Candice LeRae, that we're going to the whole military background compared to where?
Well, yeah, given it was Veterans Day when it was coming up to Veterans Day and this happened, and
it was Veterans Day. It was Veterans Day that day that she gave the promo.
Yeah, but like, and then it just makes Candice look more like an ass, and then you give some humility to Shotzi Blackheart, who's not just this person that howls and rides to the ring in a tank. Man, you've given her a backstory. It's just interesting to see where it goes, because the moment you give a wrestler a backstory, that defines them too much, and you kind of don't want it to detract from what we've already seen from her that's got her to this position.
Is that Ryan?
No, that's your house.
Oh, I don't think it was, or was that Manny's house?
It was me.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it was. So, Marcus, we're going back to the rub up. Pantheon Don quoted Dave Alvarez, who said that Ruff win was to make NXT have some comedy infused is disrespectful. Do you think that Leon Ruff winning was disrespectful to professional wrestling?
No. Well, it was a fluke win because of Damian Priest. Like, this is disrespectful. There are so many other storylines that are even far more disrespectful. The reporting on wrestling is the stupidest reporting I've ever heard in my life. Like, you don't even need sources to say this was a comedy segment. Of course it was. The belt falls to his ankles. No one is taking Leon Ruff serious. Like, even in the back, when Priest said, you need to get the hell out of here because Johnny's going to whoop that ass. Like, the whole segment was meant to be a comedy segment. And it doesn't turn the title into a joke because a North American title, you don't even know what that means anyway. You can easily win a title back and it's now a serious title. Like, it's simple as that. I mean, it doesn't even matter.
So you know how you said things being disrespectful and of that, Marcus? Well, so my favorite segment of NXT is probably one of the most disrespectful segment, and I realize I'm an evil, evil man because this is when Raquel Gonzalez is supposed to challenge Xia Li. Xia Li is nowhere to be found. I don't know where she's at, but Boa comes out to the ring. Gets his ass beat by Raquel Gonzalez, and then the wise Chinese man comes down in the smoke with the dragon and all that. He hands Boa a letter.
Can you call him the ancient Chinese man?
I said a wise Chinese man.
He's an ancient Chinese man. I don't know what age he's from. This is Raza Ghul.
I don't know who he was. He came down, he handed Boa the letter, and he put a mark on his hand, and Boa seemed like he was extremely satisfied with the results. And at this point, I've said, I am so... He
didn't look satisfied. He looked scared.
I don't know. It looked like I don't know if it was like the first strike. I don't know what it was. But Manny, I was invested.
It's a weird orgasm.
I was invested, and I couldn't wait. I can't wait till next week. I can't wait to next week where they follow up more and where Xia Li whereabouts was and what happened to Boa's first strike. Manny, did you like this segment?
It wanted me wanting more because I feel like that man wasn't explained. The mark wasn't explained. The commentators had no idea what was going on, and I just like, I need more. This is an untold story. I have to watch next week.
There's a dragon spinning around the arena for no reason. None of it made sense. It was scary entertaining because I was like, we're finally getting something out of this. And then, who's this man?
So, like,
oh shit, he wiped him. It's gonna give him superpowers.
But see, this is the funny thing about it. This is like where the lower card of NXT keeps me invested because directly following the whole Chinese consulate thing that I've created in my own head, we go backstage where Mackenzie Mitchell.
Did you care? Before we go to Mackenzie, did you care that Raquel Gonzalez beat the shit out of Boa?
No, because Raquel Gonzalez, she had to get her heat back, man. What way to get her heat? Because last week she lost to Rhea Ripley, so now she whooped up a man's ass, so she all right. But we go to Michelle McKenzie, who is talking to August Gray. August Gray is still one of my favorite people because he was the first victim of Timothy Thatcher. And
yes.
And then next thing you know, Timothy Thatcher, he come and whoop his ass, and it throws him into the picture that Loomis was painting, drawing right there, which led to Loomis versus Thatcher. And just one of the most impromptu, crazy wrestling matches ever. Marcus, did you like the whole setup to getting Loomis and Thatcher?
Petty NXT is. Petty that locker room is. You can't do anything. Like everything is the pettiest thing ever for the feud. Dexter Loomis and Timothy Thatcher are about to start a feud because he actually ran into his painting. And that's what's going to happen. That's what literally happened. A painting that Loomis probably is going to forget. Never going to think about it. It was a nice drawing. But I just feel like this is the petty shit that I want from NXT. And it continues to deliver on the petty of every single feud. Like, it's getting pettier and pettier until it's going to be one time it's going to be like, hey, man, that was my dinner roll at catering. No, it's my dinner roll. I see you in the ring. See what you do about that. So then they in truck and like trying to kill each other.
So Manny, do you think that Cameron Grimes got grimy enough on Loomis afterwards?
Well, he ain't scared of him anymore, Eric. I got someplace to be. To the moon.
Yeah. Cameron Grimes might be the best character on NXT now. I mean, he entertains the hell out of me, and I hate the man so much. But each time he delivers is one of the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life, and it's entertaining. I don't know.
And you used to hate him. Now, Manny, I have a question for you because
I still do. I still do.
I'm pretty sure you were irate when this happened, but Blanchett and Candice LeRae defeated Toni Storm. How did you take that loss?
I wasn't a big fan of this, but it was a good match. And as me and Marcus both discussed on Thursday, it was clear that these two were both holding back, which means you down the line you're going to get a better version of this match. And we also went further to go, it's hard for AEW to compete in that kind of sense because AEW are clamoring to get fans and get more recognition. So they have to go out and put on what they consider their best matches every week.
And they get the whole back with Toni Storm. And like Candice and Toni did basically a basic ass wrestling match, smooth as it could be. And if this was in AEW, I would consider it the best women's match they've ever had.
Yeah.
That's how high the standard is in
Hey, don't
NXT.
you disrespect Red Velvet like that. Don't disrespect Red Velvet. We'll talk about her.
Red Velvet, who is built from your mama's kitchen.
Mix it up, baby. Mix it up.
Built from your mama's kitchen. Whatever the hell that means.
So the main event was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch going against Breezango. Surprisingly, I wasn't invested into this match going into it. But at the end of the day, I thought the involvement of Drake Maverick made it a little bit more watchable for me. I guess the right people won, but that's how NXT closed out.
Eric, who's the worst person interfering, Drake Maverick or Bobby Roode in the Otis match? Because Bobby Roode distracted Otis, but yet he still jumped on Dolph Ziggler.
So, Marcus, I'm going to go with Drake Maverick because Drake Maverick had multiple chances to interfere, and none of those really paid off at all for them. Like, he had a lot of dividends. As Manny is fouling, mailing things away. Like I gotta get.
I will foul comment up for later.
I gotta get this. I gotta get this in the post. So it's now time for us to. Now it's time for us to move over to AEW. And before we go to AEW, Sullivan Crockpox mentioned in the chat. I will post it up on the screen, and I would like to get you guys' opinion on this. He says, "Well, the AEW World Title is 1 year old and is one of the most prestigious in wrestling right now, whether you like AEW or not, and you can't deny that." Marcus, would you consider the AEW World Championship as a prestigious title?
No.
And why?
It's a title to me. It doesn't have the flair of a New Japan or the WWE title. There are only, to me, 3 titles that actually matter in wrestling, and I know this may be a weird one. It's the New Japan title, number 1, the IWGP Championship, the WWE Championship. Even though Roman as the Universal Champion is good, I still feel like he's holding a secondary title. And for some reason, the 10 pounds of gold of the NWA. Those are the only titles that really mean something to me. And I feel also that the TNT title means more than the AEW championship. The AEW championship feels to me like always an afterthought on the show. Like, Mox is champion, but I feel like if Kenny or if Cody or if somebody else had it, it will feel more prestigious. But Mox being champion, it just hasn't elevated that title to me. When Jericho was champion, maybe it felt prestigious. But other than that, I feel like this Mox run hasn't really did it for me. It has lowered the prestige of this title.
I would normally throw it to Manny, but Manny is working feverishly on some type of project, so I'll go with my opinion first. Like, for me, I think the most prestigious title in AEW is actually the TNT Championship. I think that one has been billed as more important as the AEW Championship. And I can't blame Mox for it or not. I just think that the biggest problem with the AEW Championship is that they are not developing meaningful feuds. Like, everyone that fights for the AEW Championship kind of get to challenge Jon Moxley over a fluke tournament win or something like that. This is the first time when it's Omega, although it was from a tournament win, it feels like Omega is actually pursuing it, which is giving the AEW Championship a little bit more of that oomph that it may need to carry over to the next level. And it could be because Darby Allin now has the championship of TNT and there's a little bit less oomph in it that is making it work. Manny, what say you? Is the AEW Championship prestigious to you or not?
I don't think anything could be considered prestigious until it's been around for at least 5 years.
Okay.
Like, the NWA title is prestigious. The New Japan title, I can't pronounce.
IWGP.
That's prestigious. The WWE title and the World Heavyweight title, unfortunately, are prestigious. But you wouldn't put the Universal title as being prestigious. It hasn't been around long enough. But like, titles have to have a backlog of history for you to consider it prestige. Whereas AEW title, yeah, it's had a decent run for its first year. However, it's not. You can't go, it's the most prestigious. Just like when Eddie Kingston said that's the most important prize in wrestling right now. It's not.
No, he said this is the reason you don't have grandkids, Bob, is because of this title. And I'm like, nah, this title's only been around a year. Honestly, in AEW, I feel like it's not even the biggest title on their brand. Again, the tag titles are probably the more prestigious title in their brand, followed by a TNT title, and then the AEW title to me. Like, the tag titles, I believe, is above all in theirs. In fact, I would recognize their tag team champions as the tag team champions of wrestling. Like, over anybody on the Raw and SmackDown brand, anybody in Impact, or even in New Japan. Like, I would say that is the real tag team champion. By the way, it's a lot of Tony Storm art and autographs and stuff going on. I feel like, Manny, you're a fan of Tony Storm. Or
I think I am.
Oh, wow.
With that being said,
what album is that?
There's a lot of good questions and comments being made in the chat. Pantheon Don says, if AEW brought in selling instead of depending on fatigue, it would be a more enjoyable product. Ring of Honor works with this idea because they are all technical wrestlers. Marcus, do you think if they had better in-ring work where they sold the moves more, that you would see AEW as more of a viable option?
I think, yeah. Like, I wish they had regular wrestling matches. Like, it only seems like one person on that card really does a good, and I don't mean to take this away from everybody, but a good, sometimes fundamentally flawed at times match. And that's Cody, who likes to try to tell stories in his matches. Everybody else seems to do a bunch of moves. An example I would like to give is the Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Whatever, solid match, but they didn't really tell the story that this has been a tag team. They're members of the Elite. They're tearing each other apart. It seemed like the wrestlers had no emotion toward each other. Like, they could have been fighting anybody.
Well, their promo package told more of a feeling than their actual match did.
Yeah, like, in the match, I want you to tell me what you guys been going through. Like, Mox and Eddie Kingston had their match. And I felt it was a similar vein that they were just going through like these hardcore spots instead of like going to the emotion of what I'm supposed to feel at this match. And I feel like I don't get that. I didn't get like emotionally attached. I like to get emotionally attached to a match. Like when I was watching Walter and Dragunov, yeah, I don't know the full backstory. I don't watch NXT UK like that, but you do get a story being told of this little dude trying to overcome this bear of a man who is whooping his ass, and he is finally getting like pieces and chopping. Like the selling in that was just so much better. And you know, you get it in New Japan. I just feel like that I don't need to see a gazillion moves hit to be like, this is a great match. I need a story to be cohesively told throughout the match.
What about you, Manny? Do you think if they sold better, it would be better for you in AEW? Or is there so many more things that AEW needs to fix that's on the technical side?
The selling is one major part, but then the other thing is pacing. I feel like they really need to start pacing their shows because, like, they're all kind of the similar pace, unless you're watching an FTR match, where it's all fast paced and stuff. Where it gets a bit like exhausting because you kind of want to slow down matches sometimes. Like you need a slow down match to slow the momentum. Otherwise, you keep going high, but at some point they need to come down, and then the moment they come down, you're going to notice it more, and you keep getting the same stuff all the time. Whereas it's not a variety show anymore. It's more.
You know, Manny, I think you're correct when it comes to pacing. I think pacing is always off, and I always think that AEW tries to give us too much to digest. And I think a perfect example of what happened this week on AEW Dynamite, which had everybody talking, is when Cody Rhodes came down to the ring in his Colonel Sanders suit to address, his loss of the TNT Championship and acknowledge, Darby Allin as being the superior being. And before he can even get to the meat and potatoes of his speech, he is interrupted by a specimen of a woman, who we later found out was Jade Cargill, who decided to cut a...
We found out on the show.
Well, you found out it was Jade Cargill.
I found out later because I did not watch the show live, so of course, at the end of the day, I found out that was somebody else out there. So like the awkward exchange between Cody and Jade was, first of all, it's like Cody's an EVP, so he doesn't know who this person is, and then like she cuts his promo. She pretty much says that there's nothing giant about Cody. She kind of runs him down. And
hold on. The moment she said that, they panned to his groin.
Yeah.
And I feel like you had a womp womp.
Yeah. I mean, she says that she's nothing to be played with, and then she walks to the back. And then at this point, it's like, okay, this just happened. And then all of a sudden, Brandy comes from backstage, and she's full of spite and spice and vigor. She says, who told your ass to come out to here? You ain't gonna come out here and disrespect my man, and you come out when I tell you to come out. So in other words, she kind of puts Miss Cargill in her place. I thought at this point this was a good enough segment that it should have ended right there. Like, we should have went to commercial break. We should have let us digest what just happened, but we didn't get that. Marcus, the opening part, did you enjoy Cargill's debut from Brandy's roasting her? Did you enjoy this whole situation?
Well, let's not digest that Shaq is somehow involved in all this.
Shaq is somehow involved in this. Yes, I forgot.
Which, first of all, none of us need.
I need it just for the TNT team, just to crack jokes on Shaq doing bad moves and stuff, and just roasting him. I feel like that's this is gonna come from this, and I'm all for that. Like, I enjoyed the segment, to an extent, like you said, all the way up until the end. Now, I'm talking about past the Brady part, the FTW team coming out the attack. I didn't need that part. Did you guys freeze?
No, we were just listening to you, Marcus. Yeah. Listening.
You guys just looked stuck. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm just talking to air. But no, that everything was happening around it had the intrigue of the whole, I want to say, Boa and Xia Li thing to me. It was like, oh, who's this woman? She's talking mad shit. Brandy, better get your man. Brandy, better get your man. Brandy, this is going too low. Get your man. And then Brandy comes out and she reminds everybody that she is a black woman and that she will beat the brakes off you, even though she probably will lose that fight. I enjoyed it, but on the internet, I saw reports of people saying that this is racist. This is stupid, and that they really have to play Brandy up like this. Like I was like, this is stupid. This is the stupidest thing ever. Like, yes, on the Untitled Manny and Marcus show, Manny, you said Brandy looked like a white girl playing a black woman. I believe that is your quote.
And no, I believe I said it was reverse white chicks.
Yeah, it was reverse white chicks. So I can see that, but I also enjoyed it, in which it was like, you know what, Brandy cut a hell of a promo, and it was entertaining to me. That's all.
Manny, going to you. What about you? Overall impression of this segment?
I kind of enjoyed it. This was probably the best thing Brandy has done on AEW, other than getting choked out, which was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was like,
but the real question is, Eric, as you're the only one married on this show, at what point during this entire promo would the Sharpie wife, your wife Shantae, come out to save you?
Can I frame the question better? We are going down to our black woman, Eric, who is married to a black woman. Eric, how did you feel about the segment, and was it authentic?
At this point, the authenticity, I can't even say the word of it. It's at a 70% authentic level, because it really depends on how much do you really want to throw hands. Because at the end of the day, when she came out to the ring, clearly Brandy knew she was there and she was an employee, because she has the power to tell her when and when not to come out to the ring. I felt that the verbal lashing was appropriate, and that's what would have happened. However, I felt where they dropped the ball is that when she tapped Brandy on her ass, that would have been, no man in that arena could have held her back from getting up into that ass. It's simple as that.
Thrown.
Huh?
Shoes are being thrown.
Hands are going to be thrown.
Weaves are everywhere.
Yes.
So what you're trying to say is Jerry Lynn shouldn't have been the only person being able to stop that.
Exactly.
Jerry Lynn couldn't handle that. Jerry Lynn can handle a real black woman fight.
The one thing I've learned, Manny, let me give you some advice. Never get in between a black woman's rage. You just don't get in between, because you're going to end up getting hurt. And we don't need to get hurt. But
Jerry Lynn would have got his ass beat in a real black woman fight if they would have started throwing hands. Jerry Lynn would survive that.
Eric, you didn't answer the question. At what point during this promo, if you were Cody Rhodes and Sharpie wife was Brandy, what point would she have come out to help you?
I don't think she would have helped me in this situation, because I wouldn't pay no attention to that person, because
no. Eric would have got cussed out before, and she was like, "Why you encourage her?" Eric's like, "I'm just out here in this white suit. Why you dressing like Colonel Sanders then?" You encourage her to come out here. I'll beat your ass too.
I don't think, Marcus, I think you're getting me confused with Montez Ford and Bianca Belair. But Marcus,
I know. But I'm just saying, you would have got some of the blame in this. I think the black man in this would have got some of the blame. Why you encourage her? Because she was talking a long time before you even said anything. You let her finish. You ain't never let me finish the conversation.
And then on top of that, how she know if you a giant or not? That ain't none of her damn business. Stuff like that.
Know that.
But for me, I think the problem with this whole entire segment, which really took a lot away from it, is when at the end, when you had Team Taz, aka FTW team, I'm not really sure what their name is called, because earlier Brian Cage defeated Matt Sydal. They get into the ring, they attack Cody. Next thing you know, Darby Allin comes down to save Cody, and then Will Hobbs only shows up with a chair and take off his shirt to help Cody, and then they all shake hands, and I'm just like, why did we have this happen? I didn't need that.
Will Hobbs is the worst dog you can have. Like, you there getting your ass whooped, and your dog comes out late to do the attacking. Like, oh, now you show up.
No, Marcus,
the worst fucking dog ever.
Marcus, I think the better example is that your dog start barking after the person that stole everything out your house. They had broke in already, and now your dog would have barked like why did you bark when they were in the house?
Like he does it every week, and I'm like, man, they need to get the dog. Like it is a terrible dog. Like that's the Will. I'm so sick of him running around with the chair, going like, come on, come on. No, man, show up on time.
He hasn't actually done anything with that chair yet either. Like on Full Gear, he missed.
Full Gear, he missed when Moxley was getting attacked by who was it? The Inner Circle or MJF or Warlow or something like that.
It was Team Taz still.
It's always Team Taz. Bunch of gangs. Yeah, and he's like, arr, 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 arr. I'm swinging the chair. Like he did nothing there either. For Darby Allin to have his thumbtack jacket and scare Team Taz off, I'm going like, I still whip his ass. Thumbtacks only sting, man. I'll still beat that ass. I'll beat that ass, Darby. It was just over the top, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like this was unnecessary. And it was back-to-back segments too.
No, Mark,
like,
it happened.
Mark,
it happened at the same time. The commercial break happened after they made the save for Cody. After Brady had just got finished cussing out Cargill. Like,
but I mean, the Seidel and Cage match was the match before.
Yeah,
it went Cage and Seidel in a match that I thought went way too long.
No, Cage and Seidel opened the show.
Yeah,
this was the next segment,
and then Cody followed.
That's kind of how it went, and I was like, that was weird that they just come back out after this. Like, I'll at least give them the next hour.
So, moving on with AEW, Manny, what's your opinion of the bunkhouse match between the Natural Nightmares against the Butcher and the Blade?
I've grown up. I don't need to see this stuff anymore. Like I don't mind seeing it on a pay-per-view, but like, it didn't. I don't feel where they are in their story needs to be here. Like that should be like the end of their story. It's like, oh, we're gonna walk away because we've thrown hands and that's it. Whereas this is like they're at an immediate point of their story. They're not at the final. It's just like it was like when we talk about like WWE having like a Hell in the Cell and the feud ain't even over yet.
No, I see what you're saying. What about you, Marcus, the bunkhouse? Because we already know how I feel. I don't like these style matches. I've never have, never will. So, what about you?
Well, you know, it was what it was. It was solid for what they were trying to do. Dustin, at 50-something years old, is the best wrestler in the match, and Manny gave credit to the Blade. Whatever.
You keep disrespecting the Blade.
The Blade can't get a win. I respect the Blade once he ever get a win. The Raw team won, but it was solid. It was there to me. Like Manny said, I'd rather see a physical match in the ring, whether it's like Thatcher and Riddle and Sheamus hitting each other with moves, or a Walter doing something like that, than seeing people go through a million tables. And I didn't even understand why it's a bunkhouse match. How did we get here?
Like, to me, I think the feud was rushed, as Manny said earlier, because it was only 2 weeks ago, thanks to the urging of Eddie Kingston, that the Bunny returned to the Blade and the Butcher. But in the third week prior, before QT Marshall got the COVID, she was all snuggled up with him, and then they tried to give us some type of bogus storyline that the Bunny ran up all his credit cards and stuff like that. But I still don't understand why we got to this point where they need to damn near kill each other. True, Dustin Rhodes' cowboy boots look like they might not have been the most comfortable thing to wrestle in, but whatever. And then I didn't understand why the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny came dressed out in all white. But I guess they wanted to have the blood show more. Go figure with that.
They've been wearing white a lot lately, like bakers. And butchers, I guess.
Butchers don't wear. Oh, they do wear white.
They do wear. The Baker and the Blade doesn't have the same ring to it.
So, Marcus, I'm going to go.
Baker and the Cape Knight.
So, Mark, I'm going to turn to you, though. MJF inauguration, trip to Vegas. Was it too long, or did you appreciate this inauguration into the
It's a waste of time. I'm so over it. I'm so over a lot of stuff the Inner Circle is doing as a group. I know where this is going. It seems like MJF is going to take over the Inner Circle, probably with the help of Sammy and Santana Ortiz, and Jericho's going to go away. But I'm so sick of their shenanigans. It's just a bunch of shenanigans every single week. I miss when they were a dangerous faction in AEW, and that was in the early beginning when they were just pretty much a gang, and they would do sometimes they do some silly stuff, but it just seems like they're just a comedy act. They're no better to me. Everybody's segment is at the level of R-Truth.
So, Manny, do you think the comedy is not falling where they want it to fall when it comes to the dealing of the Inner Circle and MJF?
I think the Dinner Debonair, I think, was the peak of the comedy. But like ever since COVID happened, all the comedy bits have kind of got to a point where it's just like enough's enough. And like I think they need to change direction. I don't find it enjoyable anymore because I think Jericho needs to take a break. Because it's not funny.
Like for me, I thought one of the things that were one of the better things about AEW this week is probably something that no one will talk about. And I thought that was Shawn Spears versus Scorpio Sky. This was like actually one of the few matches that we're not getting any storyline about them, but I do know what's going on. Shawn Spears has this metal plate that he gets slipped from Tully to try to knock a motherfucker out. He knocked out Scorpio Sky. He got the win. And I was like, I like this. It gave you reasons for Scorpio Sky not to like Shawn Spears afterwards. And this is what I like. I like more organic storytelling instead of more of the direct storytelling that sometimes you have happen. Like these guys, you know, I don't know. It's just weird. And then I saw El Serpento. What's his name, Manny? El
Serpentico.
El Serpentico. And I told Marcus the trick to know if it's really El Serpentico. I can't even say his name. Is if Luther's in the audience.
El Serpentico.
If Luther is in the audience with him, then we know that is the real El Certificado. and you know, and I just like, you know, and then I like what they threw back to Alex Marvez, who was going to interview Kenny Omega, but he wasn't there. I mean, no, Dasha was going to interview, but then somehow Marvez caught up to Kenny Omega, and then Kenny Omega just doesn't acknowledge the match that they had that was unsanctioned, and he gives a promo, and I'm like, wow, this is Kenny Omega. This is probably the best I've seen Kenny Omega look in a long time. So
I think this is the Kenny Omega that we've all been waiting for. The Japan Kenny Omega. I think what we've been getting is this Americanized version where it's not very good.
Yeah, and then it's like the explanation, like
the
when
American
Marvez
version is never as good as the Japanese version, the originals. As Betty brought up, we were getting the Ringo in Japan, the Japanese version of the ring. And in America, we get the ring. And Eric would paraphrase the ring too.
The ring too. Fuck the ring too. Never happened. But like, for example, we go back to the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks who won the AEW Tag Team Championships, and they get interviewed by Marvez, and now they're good guys again. But I mean, they're challenging that up and coming team that it looks like is a upgraded version of the Private Party.
Yeah.
Top Flight. I think that's what they call. Or something like that.
Yeah, Eric, I didn't even know.
Top flight security in the world, Craig. Top flight security in the world.
I can't wait for that. But I thought this was the first time that I really felt that Kenny Omega finally was showing me he could be the star that they need him to be. And I hope he defeats Jon Moxley. That's just me.
Me too. But Eric, do you think there was a secret pat in the back? I brought this up to Manny, and I think somebody else brought it up, and this one got my attention. The Elite made a pat in the back that they're not going to fight for any major titles for a year, and then when the year happened, they give themselves all the belts.
It's a possibility that could happen.
He'll be on the verge of getting that.
But so
Kenny being world champion, the Bucks being tag champions, and someone gonna whoop Darby Allin's ass to get that TNT title back.
The thing is, Cody I saw an article stating that the Young Bucks. It was a What Culture article, and they're very much AEW shields, saying that the Young Bucks are the best tag team ever, and I just felt that was wrong. But they're definitely up there in the conversation.
I mean, I think they're definitely top 5, but I think that
ever.
Well, tag team wrestling has really, I mean, of this generation, I know they're top 5, but when I think about tag teams, like I think Usos, I think New Day, like they go hand in hand with me. And
I'm sorry, that is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. Jeremy Bishop, and you should be ashamed of what you wrote.
Oh wow!
Kamala Harris should have painted her stomach with a moon and stars during one of the debates. They would have won by a landslide. No controversy. You should hold your head in shame, sir.
Wow.
I understand the joke.
Yeah, I do.
I'm okay with it. I understand it. But she's coming.
That's no better than my joke, Marcus.
No. Or
Eric.
my joke about Colonel Sanders' slaves and cooking chicken. But go ahead.
Eric, how does Big Show like his steaks?
No.
Well,
Stop, Manny, stop. Stop. So
I'm gonna head out.
we got Red Velvet. I was hoping someone would say straight from your mama's kitchen. That's what I was hoping for.
Shit for your mama's kitchen. What does that even mean?
Going against Tay Conti. Tay Conti, I've always been a fan when she was at NXT. It's something about her that I like. The problem is that she
like her ass.
Well, Betty, as we already know, I'm not going to admit to that or commit to that. I have reasons why I will not. But with
Because
that being
you're an ass man.
with that being said, with that being said, it's a reason why NXT let her go. She's still kind of botchy. Still a little bit botchy. I don't know.
Still one of the best women's wrestlers they got.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, the story that they were trying to tell when Anna Jay tried to give Tay Conti the chair, because for whatever reason, that's the way the Dark Order tries to win. But if my memory serves me correct, Dark Order doesn't win. Tay Conti might be an affiliate and got to win, something that the Dark Order doesn't know how to do. And Anna Jay looked like she was disgusted that Tay Conti. Marcus, the story brewed between Tay Conti and Anna Jay. What do you feel? What do the people on the streets say, Marcus?
Not really brewing that well. Right here, I'm live on the streets, and I've been talking to sources close within the Dark Order, going like, we don't really know what we're doing with this, to be honest. And it was something that we totally forgot about. We went back to it because tonight's AEW episode of Dynamite was just AEW Dark, because all the major stars wanted to take the night off and do promos. Back to you, Jim.
All right, I'm going over to Manny on the other side of the tracks. Man, you've been inside of Red Velvet's kitchen, and because you know she's straight from her mama's kitchen.
Hold on. What? Why am I? Okay, I'd like to see where you're going with this.
So, Manny, being a man who's been inside of Red Velvet's kitchen, is Brandy helping anything with the flavor of that cake?
Not really.
Metaphor?
Brandy seemed more concerned with her own thing, because she seemed so pissed still when she came out with Red Velvet. Red Velvet had to force her to do the cooking something, stirring the pot.
So, you know, Jericho was on a little taste of Brandy this week, which is, I haven't watched that show in so long because I just don't care. But the main event was Eddie Kingston's best friend, Penta El Zero Nieto.
I thought we were about to talk about what happened with Jericho and Brandy.
Or you just mentioning that?
Yeah, I was giving him a little plug. I ain't watched it.
It seemed like you were like the main event was, and I was like, they haven't they booked that show like that.
Yeah, no.
Eddie Kingston showed out. He started making a meal.
Eddie Kingston's best friend, Penta El Zero Nieto, is going against his brother Ray Phoenix. This becomes a blood feud, unexplainable, where they're ripping off each other's masks, and this match didn't even live up to the match that they had a couple of weeks ago where Ray Phoenix won, but he had to give up his spot. But the highlight of the match is when Eddie Kingston gets to the ring and he kicks Ray Phoenix out of the ring. Manny, did you enjoy Eddie Kingston? Did you appreciate the story that they're trying to tell in this match?
Well, the fact that you had Eddie Kingston on commentary, already you're onto a winner. Because, like, you had Tony Schiavone blaming him for everything. These two are brothers. They shouldn't be fighting. Until you came along. I was like, oh, so that's immediately my fault, is it, Tony? Yeah. Immediately my fault. And then Penta's a really ugly dude.
You really appreciate the mask, man. Can I also say, like, when Ray Phoenix mask got ripped off, maybe it's just me. I always assume that all the luchadors have no hair. The fact that, like, Pentagon had like a big like a Bob's big boy hairdo that he had going on, like it was curly. It really threw me off. Marcus, you've been Pentagon's supporter for a long time, Marcus. Did you expect that he looked like he did underneath that mask?
Well, you said Penta's name completely without any flaw, but you can't get Sir Tippertoe right out your mouth.
You said it wrong yourself just now.
Oh shoot! All right. All right, I'm going to give myself the award of Hippo and a Crate this week. But I'm just saying, Sir Tippertoe, it seems not very hard.
You didn't even get it right there either.
I I know. I'm choosing not to. So Sepulchre got it wrong. I don't even know what I'm saying. But you said Zero Miedo and all that. Very easy. And you can't say Pete Dude and all that. With that being said, I didn't care about this match this week compared to what they did the previous week. That was the showcase. Maybe there's still lingering injuries between Rey Fenix. But I feel like they went too far with the pulling the mask off very early. It wasn't really much pace. Eddie Kingston was hilarious on commentary and on the mic before. And like you said, this was the equivalent of, and I wish we, took time to Photoshop this. This is me getting my ass whooped by Eric and Manny kicking me about the ring. Talking about, that's my best friend right there. He never needed you. You've been holding him down. Even though it'd probably be the other way around because we have the Untitled Manny and Marcus show.
And with that being said, all this was the lead up to the return of the bastard Pac, who came down to the ring, and I'm assuming we're gonna have Rey Fenix and Pac team up and face Kingston and Pentagon for whatever reason. I think that's the direction that we're going to. Surprisingly,
I don't even know because Penta looked confused himself when he was leaving that ring. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, not only did his best friend just kick his little brother off the ring and disrespect, Pac, his other friend, comes out there to feud with his other friend to only get a match with the Blade next week, who's a member of their family.
Yeah,
I was so like, why is this the ending?
The booking.
Why are we ending with this?
The booking didn't make as much sense, but we can't expect anything. But overall, I thought Dynamite wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it still wasn't great to say the least.
It was 2 good nights of wrestling, 2 good shows of wrestling on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think when you come down to it, Manny, Monday was so bad that anything that followed Monday was going to be great.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I think I had to rush watch both shows because Marcus texted me 2 in the afternoon my time to say, well, let's do a show today. I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, Manny, you do like to text us at like 4 a.m. our time, texting us like, oh my God, this is trash. The time difference is amazing.
Yeah, it's just a random set.
No, but he was like, I forgot to press send on this text, so I'm telling you now. All in the meantime, I'm sitting there like, I've got a job. I'm doing a job interview right now. Okay.
and let's insert sad music here because I'm assuming Manny and Marcus has a text that this includes them, and I don't know when they be talking to each other, and occasionally they'll respond. Marcus don't even respond to my text no more from the Manny and Marcus group that we.
I don't respond to anybody's text.
Oh.
I don't know if you noticed that. I don't respond to anybody's text.
The only thing that I send to Marcus separately is the link to get into StreamYard. There was nothing going on in our
So Manny, let me just say, clearly Marcus just doesn't text anybody. I thought maybe you guys were having conversations in the back end. Guess not.
So, yeah, the only time which is when his phone used to like overheat. It's like, what the fuck? Where did you go?
Yeah. What happened? And then,
are you enjoying?
We have a bunch of side conversations in the Sharpshooter Lounge, which is after the show when we're just talking about random shit. But that's it.
Are you enjoying your time back, not in the car with the overheating phone and things like that?
I do. I did feel like at the time it was gimmick infringement, and we haven't had the disband on since I was in the car. We never had 2 people in the car having a conversation at the same time in different locations. But. It's really nice to be back.
And Jeremy, you damn right I am jealous. What can I say?
Because we're on the Isle of Relevancy.
yeah, the Isle of Relevancy. That's what you call it, Paul? Yeah, because there ain't nothing relevant unless I'm involved.
That's Pete Dunne.
Oh, you got it right.
Man,
I told you, man.
Hold all the belts.
I told you. I do have an email. I do have an email.
Oh.
It's from Chris.
Eric, I have a story. It's a Chris-like story, actually.
So, okay, Manny, my question for you. Should I read Chris's email to see if he has any stories first, and then you tell your Chris-like story, or do you want to tell your Chris-like story first, and then I read the email?
Let's start with Chris, because Chris's stories start in one direction and go in a completely different
direction.
Let
me let you know, his subject line says, stupid dumbass. I don't know where this is
we have to go there first.
We have this one stupid dumbass at my job who won't stop crying about how Trump got cheated.
Hold on, pause. Everyone at his job is a stupid dumbass from what I gather from his emails.
I must admit that seems like that job does not really have the best hiring practices of hiring people.
Either that or Chris is a very judgmental person.
I think both statements can be completely true, Manny. He said everything from how every mail-in vote was for Biden, so something is fishy, to all the in-person votes in Minnesota aren't legal because they wouldn't let anyone see who the voters were picking. But his biggest crime on being a stupid dumbass is the following. He came into the building and stated he was ill. The blue hell. Our non-confrontational night captain wouldn't make a decision on sending him home, so me, myself, and I told the guy to go home. He only agreed to do it if I gave him one of my shifts since I have seniority over him, and since I don't give two, no word was put right there, about the place, I agreed. That day was supposed to be Wednesday. Supposed to be. So I went through all the time and contacted our manager asking for the change to be made and to ensure that I was taken out of the system to not have a no call, no show. Awesome, done deal. And until I get the following text from our manager. Hey, Chris! William, the stupid dumbass, called the store and he wants to work Friday and not Wednesday. The blue hell. So I wasted my time for nothing. I replied with fine, but I'm done trying to help that boy ever again. Thankfully, I hadn't made any plans yet, or I would have been even more vexed. Stupid dumbass number 2. My question, and before I get to number 2, I wish Chris was in the chat room still so he can. Why was your shift the tipping point for if this guy was gonna go home if he was sick or not? It just seems to me if you're sick, you send your ass back home.
I don't understand the time frame though. So, when did this guy say he was sick? Because surely he would still be sick going into Wednesday.
I also want to point out that, see, Manny and I are trying to understand. We got this perplexed look on our faces. We got really close to our camera trying to figure out this story. Mark is like, I deal with dumbasses at my job all the time. I know exactly what he's going through.
Yeah, there's a guy that yesterday, back at it again. I screwed over a guy who was like, "Hey man, am I allowed to go home early today? I don't know. Let's see what's going on with this." Never followed up with him. Worked his whole shift. Seemed all right to me.
I remember the days of running shifts when I'm supposed to be on 12 people, and then you get 8 no call, no shows, and you're running a shop on 4 people, including yourself. You're fucked that night.
Damn.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Well, let's go with stupid dumbass number 2. My roommate Dave. The guy, God bless him, suffers from botches. Yes, Marcus, I said botches. Or is that biatches? I don't know. Always getting injured it's botches. Always getting injured in some stupid form or another.
That was in the email or not. I was like, this is a brilliant email. That he decided to correct himself and not sure which he spells correctly. Botches and biatches.
And he can't lift anything over 50 pounds. I've been there, done there, man. I'm weak, man. I'm a weak, big man. I hate that shit. I want to be stronger.
50 pounds? That's not heavy.
So why would this stupid ass take a job where his primary objective is moving things? Flash forward a week and he's crying and moaning about having a sore back and cut up arms. Well, he was released but wasn't wished well in his future endeavors a few days ago. Which brings me to you, WWE. Wow, he's bringing it back home. Here's a big F you for letting go of Zelina Vega, one of my favorite, which I know I don't really mention too often because, well, Bianca Belair is on the roster. Zelina is totally serviceable in the ring and a whiz on the mic, while you have derelicts like Nia Jax, Velveteen Dream. Yes, I went there and I'll go there again. And the guy who Eric won't mention on your roster. The sheer audacity of this company is terrifying sometimes. Oh yeah, and to close it out, the biggest stupid dumbass of the week goes to that trusted night captain who can't make a decision, Gary. He says to me, "You can't tell me that you haven't come to work sick since the COVID thing started." Nope, I sure haven't. He said, "What about the time you was going to leave early, but the other guy, Steve, gave you ibuprofen?" I said, "Because my shoulder pain from sleeping wrong." Now that has nothing to do with COVID, you moron. So please, everyone, avoid being a stupid dumbass. Thank you.
How did we get back to that? From Mr. Man fired Zelina Vega, which is, a crime.
I told you. Chris went full circle and then went in another direction again.
Yeah, it was really like, being in a tornado. When you like, oh, I know what this is. It's a tornado. Oh shit, it's a tornado. I'm everywhere. And then it's like, and then at the end of the day, he's a dumbass. Like, whoa, what? Yep. But I support. Do you think WWE's gonna bring back Zelina by the end of the year?
No.
It's over. I think it all comes down to if they come to an agreement on their outside projects. I think they could, but I think that's a long shot because I don't think no one can tell Vince to budge unless something happens to budge. Unless the government makes changes, who knows? No one knows what can happen. Manny,
but do you actually think they're going to make that change? I don't think they're going to make that change.
I don't think they're going to make changes willingly.
They don't give a fuck. And, you gotta go. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to that. They got to unionize. Everybody, do your research. Get an education on how to become more of a union.
With that being said, Manny, you said you had a stupid-ass story for us also.
Well, the stupid ass would be me in this situation.
Oh, okay.
So,
Hippo a crate. Hippo in a crate right here. There we go.
So
Hippo in a crate.
It was more. I was gonna say the story on Thursday, but then I saved it for Saturday because to bring people in like a cliffhanger.
I knew he was gonna say some shit like that. Go ahead.
Did I not say that on Thursday, Marcus? I said I was disappointed.
That is a fact.
That doesn't show up in the chat, and I listed them all. And so on Wednesday at lunchtime in HR, once a month there is always a quiz. I have never won it. I have come close to the point where I've come twice.
You've come twice?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, you really want to go there, Eric?
I'm just saying. That's what you said.
Crunchmouth isn't here to call you out on this nonsense.
I was already called sex. I was already called Sex Luther, man. What else I got to lose? Go ahead.
So I have come twice in this tournament. I have never won.
It's like Sex Luther is just such a stupid thing. It's like you're the evil dude having sex. Like, that dude is Sex Luther. He is bad at it, but he think he great. He think he great, but he bad.
Marcus, Manny is trying to give a story, man.
Superman gonna take Sex Luther as girl, man.
With 10 questions left to go, I kind of figured out, going by the stats, I was gonna win. So in preparation of this, I had my wrestling belt ready to go on camera and celebrate, like having the boyhood dream, Shawn Michaels celebrate with that title, or like when Bret Hart used to kiss that title goodbye. So the moment that it was announced, Manny has won, Manny has come first. I turned that webcam on, celebrated like I was a true champion. 2, maybe 10 other people that were participating. Little did I know the next day it was going to be part of a all HR email that went out to 700 people with a picture of myself molesting, facially molesting a belt with my mouth. Dare I say it, I had an interview that day for another job in that organization, and the whole thing going through my mind in that meeting was, I hope he hasn't been sent that email.
Wow.
Damn. Manny, I have a question about the picture that is going around that went viral throughout your workplace. Do you have that picture?
I'm never showing this. I may show it if we ever get to 500 subscribers, but I will never show it unless that we meet that target.
Okay, 500 subscribers to watch Manny molest a belt.
I don't want to even reach 500. I don't want to never see that in my life.
I want to see the failure. I want to see what happened. I want to see what the entire people were thinking when he was getting that interview.
No, but so on camera they asked me, and I feel like they hadn't ever been exposed to the real version of me.
They only know corporate Manny.
They only know corporate Manny, but then someone asked as if it was like an Oscar speech, Manny, who are you thanking? I was like, I'd like to thank myself for getting the questions correct.
You got a heel promo and everything. And Melissa the belt on live television. You had a live sex celebration with your belt. I
violated that belt with my mouth.
That sounds even worse. That sounds even worse than anything I've heard.
I told you, it's a story worth having to come onto the Saturday show. And those that stuck around, well done for the cliffhanger.
Yep.
Well, for that.
Shout out to the 10 to 12 people who will watch this one.
Well, I thank you guys for joining the show. I am Sex Luthor.
Oh, we're going with that name today. I'm Lord Manny Hayes.
And I'm Marcus the Grand Finale, who said he was going to say his name, Marcus the Grand Finale, more times than he's ever said Marcus the Grand Finale, but forgot to say he's Marcus the Grand Finale throughout the show, and failed to do that. So I'm Marcus the Grand Finale, signing off.
Actually, I think I really go the right ways because when I look at all the names put together, it does sound like a very bad bit. I'm Eric.
Are we signing off again?
Yes. Because if you say all three names together, it doesn't sound like this is a very good way to end a show.
Sex Luthor, Beef Lee.
No one said anything about Beef Lee, Marcus.
Nia Jax.
No.
Nia Jax. That 1 week, yeah. That was a good costume. Good costume.
Anyway.
No one got hurt.
I am Eric.
The hippo in the crate.
I'm Lord Manny Hayes.
Oh,
I'm going to say this for one last time. Marcus the Grand Finale.
And I didn't cut you off this time. And until next week, which will be the last show before my hiatus for the main show that gets no views. Stay sharp to that day. Manny, I'm trying to give you the time to do your new out where you go to the moon with your feet. Have you given that up?
I've already done it during the show.
Oh, okay. Well, then shit. Well, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, Erica. That was another one.
Wow. Fuck you all. Until next week, stay sharp.
Shout out to L.